Hi, this video will demonstrate how to factor a trinomial. The first thing we want to notice is that we've got a negative sign associated with our squared term, okay, whether it be x squared or b squared. And we want to always, if possible, have a positive sign associated with our squared term. So when I know I want to factor out a negative out of every single term. In addition, I want to look through and see if there's anything else I can factor out. I've got a b squared, a b, and there's no b term here, so I can't really pull out a b. But if you notice, I've got a 2, an 8, and a 24. So I notice I can pull a 2 out of every single term. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out a negative 2. And as I do that, I'm going to rewrite my trinomial in descending order. In other words, I'm going to write my squared term, then my b to the first, and then my constant terms last. So when I pull out a negative 2 b out of negative 2b squared, I'm just left with b squared. Okay. And now I'm going to pull a negative 2 out of minus 8b. Well, minus 8 divided by a negative 2 is going to yield a positive 4, and I've still got my b. And then finally, 24, I'm going to pull out a negative 2, and I'm going to be left with minus 12. And you can see right away that this is going to be easier to factor than leaving in the minus 2. First of all, the negative signs get all confusing. And second of all, having a not equal to 1 is a lot more complicated than when a is equal to 1. So now I'm just going to factor this. Again, remember, this negative 2 is going to come along for the entire ride, okay? So I've got my negative 2. And now I'm just looking for paired factors of negative 12 that sum to a positive 4. Okay? So I think it's going to be a positive 6 and a negative 2. Why? Because 6 times negative 2 yields a negative 12, but when I add those two together, it gives me a positive 4. All right, and remember, when a is equal to 1, which in this case it is, there's an implied 1 in front of the b squared term. These numbers are just my factors, so it's going to be b plus 6, all right, and then b minus 2. Okay, see, that's a lot easier than when a is not equal to 1. If a is not equal to 1, I have to go through the grouping and come up with my factors and all that. Okay, so this is my answer here. The moral of the story is twofold. First of all, always try to get a positive sign in front of your squared term. Okay, like we've done here. So if it's a negative, go ahead and factor out the negative and change the sign on everything. All right, notice my negative 2b squared became a positive. My minus 8b became a positive. My positive 24 became a negative. So when we factor out that negative, the sign of everything changes. And then in addition, look through and see if you can pull out something else. In this case, I could pull out a 2 out of every single term. And that helped me tremendously by making a equal to 1, and now this was a lot easier to factor.